Mm-hmm. Says we're live.
Hi.
Happy Friday, everybody. Janice and I are reporting in from snowy, well, I'm snowy Vermont. I don't know what she's got going on in Ohio.
Slushy, Ohio.
Oh,
Well, we got a ton of snow over the weekend, and then it warmed right up and rained, and now there's slush and mud everywhere.
you know, I can't wait for until mud season hits. I really can't. I can't wait until I drive down our dirt road and the bottom of my truck is sliding in the mud.
The very first time you said anything to me about mud season, of course, was when I was still down in Texas. And that just tickled me to no end that there was such a thing as mud season.
I,
I appreciate it now.
so anyway, today's topic,
We
and
have a
it's
topic.
well, no, it's more like a question. Um, so the question is, what is the one thing that you want right now that would make your bookkeeping easier?
You mean besides an understanding of basic bookkeeping?
Well, it's like there's a lot of people in the Facebook group, and there's new folks coming in every week, and I've gotten a lot of new followers on Instagram, and blah blah blah, and but it's like I mean, I can sit here and I can assume that I know what you guys all want to know, which you know what they say about assuming it makes an ass out of both you and me. Um, so it's like I just what would make your what would make bookkeeping easier? I've put up some posts on the blog that accounting speak. What's an asset? What's a liability? What's a cost of goods sold versus what's an expense? Knowing those things are the basis for knowing bookkeeping. And sorry, I, I pulled a muscle in the back of my neck earlier this week, and they put me on muscle relaxers. I could have been the star of The Walking Dead the last 2 days. So I just realized I'm like flailing my coffee cup around like it was, I don't know, magic wand or something I was going to hit myself over the head with. Um, you know, so Janice, you said a knowledge of basic bookkeeping. Be specific.
I was kind of joking. But I think for a lot of people, that probably is the number one thing. I do have a very basic understanding of bookkeeping, but I've also been doing it for nearly 15 years. So, yeah, I think for most people, that's probably at the top of their list. They don't know the difference between an expense and a cost of goods sold. Or, I've spent all morning doing general journal entries, which you can't even begin to think about when you're doing bookkeeping in a spreadsheet for payroll. And it's just I think a lot of people you go, I've been doing general journal entries for payroll all morning, and people are going, huh?
Yeah. Well, what?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think for a lot of people, that's probably the thing that they need the most. After that, you just need a way to do the bookkeeping. And that's, what your focus has been the last several weeks is how are you going to do it? Are you going to, do it in spreadsheets? And most people go, oh, yeah, because that's cheap. Well, you get what you pay for, folks. So,
Exactly. And tomorrow, actually, I have a blog post coming out about doing your bookkeeping in bookkeeping software. And yes, everybody, it's going to cost you money. Okay. But you're going to save 25 to 50% of your time by using bookkeeping software.
and you are also going to cut down on the possibilities of mistakes that you will pay for later.
Yeah, one way or the other.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not that I hate spreadsheets. Okay, last week's blog post was talking about doing your bookkeeping in spreadsheets, and I came up with 31 spreadsheets that you would need to do your bookkeeping for a year. Okay, now let's say in the middle of the year you have a new revenue stream or you have a new cost of goods sold account. Now you've got to stop everything and you've got to update maybe not all 31, but you've got to update a, at least a half dozen spreadsheets to include this new cost of goods sold account. Or if you go out and you buy an asset, now you've got to add an asset account and start tracking your assets. You know,
Don't even go into assets. That's a whole different animal, too, and it can
it,
make your life miserable,
it can.
especially if you've got large items that are devalued over time. So, we're talking about a basic understanding of bookkeeping here, and you're going to have more than a basic understanding of bookkeeping to do your books and spreadsheets.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I did put out the simple. It was like a 2-page spreadsheet for just getting it done, so that you could have your numbers put together for last year. But there's still a huge amount of time and effort involved. And okay, for fanciful things for the software business, I use QuickBooks. I took all of my I took a backup of both QuickBooks files. I took all of our personal stuff. I took it to the CPA less than 2 weeks ago. I'm going today to pick up all of the taxes, all of them. The S corp tax return, our personal return with the Schedule C for fanciful things. Okay. And it makes the CPA's life so much easier because I've done everything. If she has a question, she's got the backup of my QuickBooks file. She can double click on a number and she can go see every transaction involved. You know, when we first moved here to Vermont, I've always done our books. Imagine that.
Look,
Uh,
Sarah's here.
hey, Sarah. So we went shopping for a CPA. We had one CPA who was going to charge us $1,500 a year. And that was
Okay.
just to do the S corp tax return. And
Nancy,
I'm like,
our CPA charges us twice that to file federal returns in 30 states.
well, needless to say, I
I
told
love it.
him to stop it. And then we found this other lady who is also a CPA, and went and told her the same thing. I use QuickBooks. My background is a bookkeeper. I do all of our books. I brought my backup with me and I said to her, I even used to do our taxes. So everything's all mapped out to, you know, it, to tax lines so that, you can just plug it into your tax software and suck the data out so you don't have to do any double entry. And I said to her, can you give me a rough guess as to what you would charge? Well, let me tell you, it wasn't no $1,500 a year.
I bet.
Um, and even though I have now added another business, I think our personal return with the Schedule C for fanciful things, our personal return went up $25.
That's good.
And I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is because she knows I'm a bookkeeper. She knows I'm not going to do anything to like cook the books, that I really do know my debits and credits. And, this is really, this is an advertising expense versus, well, this was something that accidentally got put on the business credit card
Yeah.
because, they all look alike. Um, you know, so, bookkeeping software really makes not only a CPA's life easier, it makes your life easier. And yes, whether you're going to use spreadsheets or whether you're going to use a bookkeeping software, it's, there's a learning curve. The learning curve with spreadsheets is you need to learn how to do macros and learn how to do formulas and learn how to do pivot tables and blah blah blah. The learning curve with software is you just need to know how to get it set up, and then you have to know how to plug your numbers into the right little buckets. And I know that I make that sound easy, you know, but in reality, that's what it is. You've got all of these little buckets that are going to hold your costs, and you need to know if something is an advertising expense versus, oops, I grabbed the wrong credit card, and this really, it was an owner's draw. Shame on me. I screwed up, but I'm accounting for it.
Well,
So,
that's what I meant too. That's one of those things where, if you're going to do spreadsheets, and Sarah can probably vouch for this because I know she does her bookkeeping in spreadsheets, is that you have to be much more careful in a spreadsheet, or you could make very large mistakes that could cost you a lot of money down the line. And just saying, either somebody to pay somebody to get it all straightened out because it's gotten so hosed you don't know what's what, or the government could come after you because you missed something that wasn't you weren't aware of, and or and yeah. So software makes that easier. It's going to make it easier for you to avoid mistakes.
I didn't have my microphone on. Hello.
hi. We just thought you were being super, super quiet today.
Oh dear. No, I was just saying. Yeah, I do my own in spreadsheets, and it's pretty simple at my end because I'm a sole proprietor. So there's a lot of stuff that doesn't apply, which makes my life a lot easier. I think that if I ever incorporated, I'd probably definitely have to. But even then, even with my macros and all my formulas, I'm still okay. So this has to go here and here and here, and I got to get it right.
Exactly. Yeah. And
So,
actually, I kind of think personally that spreadsheets is harder because you've got to remember this goes here and here and here and here, and if you forget a here, now you've got to go back and backtrack.
I do find that if I've forgotten a here, I usually catch it when I'm putting everything together for my taxes. So, and it's usually not too bad because I've kind of got everything. I make incredible use of the find function as well in Excel. No, I'm not even kidding. It's okay. I need this transaction. Find. So I've done that. But I guess it's not bad for me because I'm still very, very small.
And you have the technical skills behind you that how to create those formulas and create those macros, and I mean most people don't.
Yeah, I got handed the basic template for my business development class, and then kind of went with it to make what I needed. But yeah.
So let me ask you.
Oh, all right.
Okay, because this week's chat was more of a question than it was whatever, even though we kind of did get off on a tangent, and that's cool.
Of course we did.
My question was, what is the one thing you want right now that would make your bookkeeping easier?
For me, it's actually like less the spreadsheets and more I lose things. I know this about myself. I am the person who will put things down in a safe place and it's safe even for me. So the curse of my life is physical receipts. I love it when, like, if I buy yarn at a show and they ask if they can email me a receipt, I jump for joy. Because then I can use that infamous find button, and when I'm doing my taxes, I can type into the search box of my email, find this company. And that's how I do my double checking, because I know that email's in my, there's that receipt's in my email. But if they hand me a physical receipt that just has, like, cost and not even, like, an item description, I'm like, not only am I going to lose this, but I will have, in 6 months, I will have no idea what this is.
Yeah.
So something like I've started using a traveler's notebook because it goes in my purse. And so when I get a receipt from any kind of vendor, I put it in there immediately. But even then, it's still like, I don't remember what it takes a lot of backtracking for me to go back to my spreadsheet and go, here's the date. What was this receipt for? So something to like collate all the physical things would be incredibly useful for me.
I have an app on my phone.
Well, you're going to tell me something like this already exists, aren't you?
That's called Scannable.
All right.
And you can literally take a picture of it.
Ooh.
But does it let you? Does it allow you to give a description of what you've taken a picture of, Nancy?
Yes, you can save it under a file name. You can even mark it up. Because there are so many receipts. Like I went when we were on vacation last year. We stopped at a Hobby Lobby. Now,
that's why you've got all that. I love your this.
And the nearest Hobby Lobby to me is 2 hours away. Okay, I mean it's not like I'm and yes, I can order online, but I want to see what their purple really looks like.
Yeah.
So I get the receipt, and there's no damn description. There's some funky like internal barcode, and I swear it was the same barcode because I also bought they now have their I love this yarn in fingering weight. So yeah. So their acrylics are now in fingering weight, and I wanted to try it. I mean, it felt really nice when I picked it up and squished it and ran it through my fingers to see how. I always do the finger test. How does it feel going across my index finger? Sure. If it feels like baling twine, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And it felt really nice. I mean, it's comparable to Knitpicks Brava as far as that soft, squishy, cushy feel.
Yeah.
So I swear it was the same damn barcode for the fingering weight I love this yarn as it was for the Hobby Lobby I love this cotton. So here I am with this receipt, and it's got indecipherable code 6 at 219. And it's like
that should be criminal. Just putting a SKU on
no kidding
without a description really should be.
So it was like, okay, and it was probably one of the first times that I ever used Scannable. And we got back in the RV, and I took the little picture of my receipt. And later in the day, when we finally stopped for the night, I went back and I pulled up the little picture and I marked it all up and said, this is, I love this cotton purple. I love this yarn fingering weight, in Christmas red.
Yeah.
And from there I can email it to myself. As a JPEG, I can email it to myself as a PDF. and it was just, I mean, it was like I fell in love.
Okay, so I will have to check that out.
It also will import into Evernote, and I use Evernote for, you know, like everything.
Do they have an Android app, Nancy, or is it just for iPhones?
I think
Yes, that would be.
I think they have an Android app too.
What?
Let me pop over and look, because it. I mean, this was, you know, July that I did this. God knows if it's anything like YouTube. A week after I downloaded it, it was different.
Yeah. Well, you folks will appreciate this. I went to a yarn festival and I bought yarn. And I had a good laugh at the receipt because it was one of those little like cash register tape receipts because they just had a little cash register.
Yeah.
And it just read yarn and then the price. And I'm like, what? And the next entry was yarn and the price. And the next entry was yarn and the price. And I'm just thinking, I wanted to laugh.
Well, you've got to understand that that's the cheapest thing that these poor people can afford.
Oh no, I'm not actually faulting it. I just had a good laugh at it because they were a much smaller dyer, so it makes perfect sense. I just had a good laugh at it.
I'm old enough to remember cash registers that just had the price. Screw any kind of a description at all. So.
No, I don't. And again, I wrote on the receipt saying what it was, and it's not a big deal. But I just did get a laugh out of that.
Hey, I'm going to tell you that I am beyond impressed that you can talk and knit lace at the same time.
Oh, I have been working on the same darn pattern repeat for the last while. So
for a minute, huh?
This is 420 stitches around last time I checked, and it's the same darn pattern repeat for a while. So it's gotten pretty automatic.
Yeah.
And this is the easy row. This is the all knits and purls row. So you might hear more muttered cursing when I get to the lace row.
To the yard overs, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it in the round?
Yeah. It will be square. It's just not because it's crumpled up on the needles and huge. Yeah. But it technically will be. It's one of my pattern prototypes, so it will be a giant square shawl.
Oh.
And I'm actually pretty close to the edging. This is
row. A lot of stitch markers.
Yes. Yes. It is all the stitch markers because otherwise I lost my place a lot.
Yeah.
So this is row 136 of row 142. Now you see why I know this stitch pattern very, very well.
Oh my God, I guess. Okay, for so, you Android folks, try Cam Scanner.
Okay.
Yep, CAMSCANNER.
Okay.
And that's free as well.
Okay.
So, and it says, once you've captured an image, there are tons of ways to edit it by adjusting the color, contrast, brightness, cropping, add watermarks and annotations, plus add tags so you can search for scans later.
So on that note, I actually have a question for you folks, because this might be a difference in jurisdiction. I still have to keep all my original receipts, because if the Canadian Revenue Agency ever says we want your receipts, I actually do have to send in originals. Does that hold true for you folks as well?
I don't know.
Well, if we're audited, we have to produce our originals.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. But they are getting better about, if you have everything scanned, okay, in PDF and blah, 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 and you can show not only that PDF scan, but you can put your hands on that original receipt.
Okay.
They're quite happy. And I know this just from a friend of mine who was recently audited. They were okay with the fact that she had a scanned receipt, and it was a very detailed scanned receipt, but they gave her holy you-know-what because she couldn't produce the original backup.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's still my bigger problem is even if I scan the receipts, I'm still the person who will then lose the original.
Well,
Yeah. So that's
I go. Well, I went several years ago, and you can find them in the grocery store. You can find them in the pharmacies. They're these 13 pocket
oh
expandable
yes.
files, and I mean I have one, and everything goes in that after I've scanned it. And if it's a if it's a paper something, um, I will scan it and put it in the folder on my computer. I just have one called 2019 expenses.
Yep.
Um,
This.
and once I know that it's in that folder, then I will take and I will put it in the appropriate month. And at the end of the year, I just reach in, grab January stuff,
Okay. Yeah.
neaten it up, staple it together, rinse, lather, and repeat, for February,
Yeah.
March, and April. And then I just put it in a big manila envelope.
Well, actually, I'll show you what I've come up with that so far is working. Or did I put it away? So where is my?
That's the thing. You cannot put it away.
Well, this is my
Out of
20.
sight,
This is
out
my
of
2018
mind.
one. This is 2018. Here we go. So this is the Traveler's Notebook system. So
Okay.
what I did is, oops, so this is I didn't organize this for 20. I went through it, but I have to go back through it for a year. So this is everything for 2018 in here. And then the thing is, the insert thing goes into the 2019 book. So I have one in my purse that's 2019's. So that means if I'm out, I can put it immediately in here rather than having to wait to get home. Because that's where I find I fail. Because I'll take the receipt out of my wallet, put it somewhere and having to scan it and having to put it in my bookkeeping. And that's where I find the break point is. That's where I'll lose the receipt. So when I had it in a thing that went right in my purse, I found there was less fail point. But I'm still paranoid about you losing physical receipts.
I went to the dollar store and I bought this little plastic box. It's not even a box really. It's just a little plastic bin and stuff. And I don't carry a purse anymore.
Helpful.
This is my purse. Everything I need is right in here.
I am amazingly impressed you can do that.
Yeah, me too.
The only time I carry a purse,
My purse is like over there, and it's huge.
It's small for me, so
I gave that up years ago. But everything is here. And if I go and I get a physical receipt, it gets tucked in. And matter of fact, I have one right here. It gets tucked right here. And the reason this works good is I can only put so much in here
Smart.
before I have to take it out. So I have this little plastic bin from the dollar store. And when I clean out my purse, and they all go in this little bin.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it's like, so it goes from point A to point B.
Yeah. And that's a step. The transferring between points is I find where I'm at the most risk of losing a thing. And then that little binder, it's not only my tax stuff, but it also has like sketches. So it's everything from 2018. It's got my design sketches. It's got not only my tax stuff, but like sales receipts, like all of that. And so then it goes in a box under my bed. And then each little binder is labeled like 2018 and so on. I just started, someone put me on this in 2018. I have not yet gone back and converted all my earlier stuff to that system. That's one of the things to do. But so then the 2019, it's like my sketchbook, and it's got and in those pouches, it also has things like my business checkbook. So that, and all those sort of things as well. So that it's all just there. Because before, I was I would take the receipts at one spot, put them somewhere else, and then that's where I lose them. And yeah.
It's tough. I mean, back when I had a real job and I had to like leave my house and go to work. I had a purse that you could fit a laptop in.
Nice.
Plus, I had a laptop bag. And yeah, everything went into the purse, and it held so much. And it was like by the time I finally started pulling stuff out of the purse, it, it looked like some of the stuff that the guys gave me from the construction business. All crumpled up, minus the muddy boot print and the spilled coffee. But I mean, it was still all crumpled up. Sometimes it was torn, and it was like, oh my God, this is a mess. But that was back when I used to drive 500 miles every week, and I took care of 30 different bookkeeping clients.
Oof.
Okay, so yeah. Things got really crazy. So what I ended up doing was I bought one of those expanding letter size folders. Yes, it had 13 pockets, and inside of there I had just a regular little file folder, and I would divvy it up for each one of my clients, and it stayed in my laptop bag, and which was it would it never stayed in my truck because it was like always like glued to me. And it's like, now I wonder why my neck is bad. I mean, I had 75 pounds of crap that I was lugging around every day. And back then it was like once a week on Friday night, I would come home and I was done for the week, and I would pull all of those receipts each week, plus all any little notes, like I had to do blah 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 for somebody before next week, and I would just unload that little organizer. And that kind of saved my soul because I mean, back then I had a lot of expenses.
Well, I have to admit, the person who put me on the Traveler's Notebook idea, I was just like, thank you. This makes sense. Because it's 2018 in a nice little box.
Yep.
And again, it's not just the tax stuff; it's also like my sketches and like all of the other little bits. And yeah, it's just great. And it also means again, it's on me, so I don't have to put the receipt somewhere to put it somewhere else. But I am convinced that purses are like the Mary Poppins carpet bag, or like the expandable bag from Harry Potter. Like I'm convinced that purses just like.
Yeah. They are definitely bigger on the inside than they are.
Except when you want to put something in them, and then you're like, it won't fit.
Yep.
But yeah.
So we've used up our half hour. I know it goes quick, doesn't it? And I've got a customer that I have to call back, and then this afternoon I go pick up our taxes.
Yay!
Oh, yay!
And it's just she always wants to sit down and talk with us. So that it could be a long afternoon because she's very chatty. Our CPA, and she actually owns 2 of our software programs for one of her clients that she does the bookkeeping for. So sometimes it's a mixture of tax stuff, and she'll say to Ben, I really would like to be able to do blah 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 blah. So yeah, it could be a long afternoon, but thanks for joining.
And next time I'll remember to turn my microphone on. I didn't realize the switch had been pushed right off.
We just figured you were so intent on your knitting
that you. I was talking. I'm like, why is there? Oh, it's not the first time this has done this. This is an easy switch to mash accidentally. So it's not the first time that's happened.
Yeah, mine's actually on a little doohickey that's not close to me.
Here. So if I put it down the wrong way, I will turn off my mic. And then I won't realize that, and then I'll put the mic back on and go to use the headset. I'm like, why is there no sound?
Well, I feel just deficient. Cheers.
Do you want a headset too? I have an extra.
I do too, actually.
All right, ladies.
All right.
Have a great week. We'll see you next
too.
week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, folks.